Lose your heart to the ground. Love turns the whole thing around. No, it will not go the way it should. I know the heart of life is good. I know it's good. Hello, beautiful souls, dear dream catchers. Welcome to another episode of Wake Up Call podcast. I'm your host, Dream. I'm a prophetic dreamer. I am a sleepwalker, sleep talker, and I've had prophetic dreams since I was a child that 30 years later now have become relevant. I recently received a series of revelations that have led me to starting this show, Wake Up Call, so that I can share my knowledge from up above of how your dream space is working every day to guide you, to give you direct access to your inner wisdom, and to give you the knowledge necessary to solve the most difficult problems in your waking life. If this message found you, then it was likely meant for you. Please only take what resonates, and I did set the intention today to ensure that this message only reaches those who it is meant for. I do offer personalized readings. Everything you need to know is in my bio below. In this episode, I wanted to talk to you guys about the different types of dreams. Now, in a previous episode, I had done a breakdown of the different reasons why we dream. Now, today, I'm delving more into sort of categorizing, if you will, the different types of dreams so that perhaps when you're dreaming, you can better decipher and differentiate between them. Sometimes in a given night, you may have different types of dreams, one after the other. There may be some nights where you only remember one significant dream and it will be of a certain type. And the reason why it's important to gain this level of discernment is so that you're able to better interpret your own dream. So by understanding the type of dream that you're receiving, you'll be able to better analyze and decode the most important messages within your dreams that you're meant to receive. So today, the 10 different types of dreams I will break down are: first, prophetic dreams; second, psychic or future dreams having to do with the third eye chakra; 3, intuitive dreams about the present, so having to do with your solar plexus chakra, your intuition; 4, dreams of inspirations and ideas, so that having to do with your crown chakra; 5th, messages, so dreams where you are receiving messages from external sources such as your spirit team, your ancestors, even your higher self; 6, dreams containing alerts, warnings, or messages of caution, things you need to pay attention to in your waking life; 7, dreams of your subconscious; 8, recurring dreams; 9, childhood dreams; 10, milestone dreams. The first type of dream being prophetic dreams. Now, I do believe that everyone is capable of receiving prophetic dreams. You may not remember them. Some may be too spiritually blocked or too much in spiritual denial of source and the highest, the most high, that they may not receive prophetic dreams often, but I do believe that as human beings, we are all capable of receiving prophetic dreams. And what a prophetic dream is essentially God, the universe, the highest source from up above of love and light, delivering to you a profound, important message. So the way you're able to distinguish that you're having a prophetic dream is that it will contain deep wisdom and give you knowledge that you simply cannot identify the source of, meaning that you cannot locate, even within your subconscious, that the information came from you yourself. And the wisdom contained within a prophetic dream is so starkly profound, meaning deep and important and full of wisdom, that it also can't just be random, and it will stand out to you. It will be a dream that you perhaps wake up from, or it's a dream that you wake up from and you can't shake from your memory no matter how much time has passed in waking life. And it'll be a dream that sticks with you forever. And at some point you will reach an aha moment where you're able to decode what that prophetic dream meant. So I'll give you an example. For me, and I did talk about this in a previous episode, so I'll try to summarize. When I was around 5 years old, I was home with a fever, sick from school, and my father was watching me and my brother, and he showed us a movie, The Never-Ending Story, and we were just kind of sick, my brother and I, and just napping. And I had this dream that impacted me on a very deeply emotional level, where I cried, sobbed, both within the dream and when I woke up. And it took me 30 years, so until last week, to finally figure out that this was in fact a prophetic dream, and to figure out what exactly that dream was trying to tell me. So in this dream, I dreamt that my father was ill and that he required surgery. But as a 5-year-old child, the way the imagery was shown to me was my father, who was alive and well in the dream and able-bodied, showed to me on a screen/window. It was like a giant TV screen that became a window into the backyard almost. So it was like a live screen, but he was next to me, and the screen depicted my father undergoing surgery. But as a child, the imagery was shown to me as his body being a car being taken apart and repaired. And in the dream, I cried for him. I cried for his pain and his suffering. And when I woke up, I cried in that same way. But I always kept that dream to myself. I woke up in a feverish sweat, still crying, still upset. I kept it to myself. No one ever, not a soul knew about it. Not even today. And I figured out that this was a message from God from up above, from the universe, telling me about a significant point in my future life that will be essential for me to pay attention to, that when this moment happens in the future, I am going to play a significant role in the life of my father and both of our life paths, whether together or apart. And that there is something that is a part of my mission or purpose in life that the beginning of this important mission and purpose in life will be marked by this significant event where my father is undergoing surgery and he's telling me all about it and showing it to me on a screen. Now, the way I connected the dots was that 2 weeks ago, I reunited with my father after 5 years of not speaking. And this is all in waking life. And during that initial first meeting reunion, he told me about, unbeknownst to me, his repeated cancer and how every time they operated on him to remove the tumors, that there was a screen, and the screen would light up a certain way if they found tumors, and they would be able to operate right away, and then for a brief period of months he would be cancer-free until his next follow-up appointment. And the moment my father told me about that medical procedure, it clicked for me, this childhood dream of mine that always stuck with me but I could never make sense of. And I realized that there was something really important that I needed to do in my father's life, or at least plant the seed for, and that it was also marking a turning point in either my life, my father's life, or both of our lives individually, independently. So that's just one example of a prophetic dream, but you'll know, because differently from a psychic dream where you're having dreams about things that are going to happen in the future, a prophetic dream, the messages and the degree of wisdom, it comes from beyond you. And unlike a psychic or future dream, you are receiving messages from God about your soul mission and purpose. So everyone has one. Everyone has a soul mission and purpose on earth. Whether or not we live our lives to actually follow it is another story. Whether or not we are tapped in enough to ever know what that soul mission and purpose is, that's also another story for another day. But for those of us, perhaps you collective, who are tuned in and who do set the intention to live in alignment with your soul purpose and mission, you will receive prophetic dreams, and you will be able to discern that you have had one. The next type of dream is, as I've alluded to, psychic or future dreams. So these are dreams that emanate from your third eye chakra. So that's located sort of along your brow bone between your eyes. And these dreams tell you about events, relationships, or things, important decisions that are upcoming for you. And you'll be able to tell that you're having a psychic or future dream because things will happen in the dream where it may not, where things happen that is not completely foreign to you, and something that hasn't happened yet, of course, but it'll also feel like something that is possible, like that it's not beyond the imagination or impossible that such a person, place, event, decision could happen in your life. And it'll stand out to you as a dream because you'll wake up from it and it'll make you think. Like you'll wonder what the dream is trying to tell you about your imminent future. And unlike prophetic dreams, psychic or future dreams are usually about events that are coming up more in the near future, whereas prophetic dreams, like the example I provided, they can be of events that don't happen for decades. If you can imagine time as not being linear, therefore it is possible for you to receive prophetic dreams about something that is so far in the future if everything is happening, everything everywhere all at once. An example of a psychic or future dream is a friend of mine. She and I love to have conversations where we share dreams, mostly her sharing with me dreams that she's had and then me decoding them or making sense of them. And she had a psychic future dream where well before she was married and well before she got pregnant with her now daughter, she had a dream about being at the hospital and getting ready to give birth, and she was in the birthing room and her baby's feet were sticking out of her belly, like straight up and out, so head down, feet up in the air, but not out, not birthed yet. And she dreamt of who was in the waiting room, and those in the waiting room included her mother, her father, me, and her now husband. And to me, this was a simple third eye chakra future psychic dream of hers where she knew she was gonna have a daughter, and she knew who was gonna be there and anticipating this child's birth and who would be there for her within her inner circle. So that's just a simple example of where you'll have a psychic or future dream about something that's imminent. You know, for my friend, she had this dream maybe within 5 years or less before she actually birthed this healthy, beautiful, blessed baby. And you'll also notice that differently from a prophetic dream, a psychic or future dream it doesn't hold the same depth of wisdom. Like if you look at my friend's example, there isn't really even a message of deep wisdom that comes from an external source. It was almost like her seeing into her future very accurately. And that was that. It almost was like a dream that gave her reassurance of what was to come, or validating her knowing of what was to come. The third type of dream has to do with a different chakra called your solar plexus. And that chakra is located within the lower region of your torso, so near your belly button. And this chakra governs your intuition. And dreams of this type, so intuitive dreams, tend to be about more of the present. So present events, present current relationships, decisions that you're currently working on, problems you're trying to solve. And everyone has intuition, but to varying degrees, depending on how much inner work you've done and how much work you've done to unblock your chakras in general, and specifically your solar plexus chakra. The way our chakras work is that they need to both be in balance. So all of your chakras, from your crown to your root, have to be worked on and unblocked, and also in balance. So an example is, for me, when I was in waking life in a relationship that was not serving me, that I should not have been in, or it's not that I shouldn't have been in it because it was karmic and I had to learn a lot of lessons, but it was that I had shut off my intuition, so essentially blocked it knowingly and voluntarily, blocked my solar plexus chakra in order to turn off my intuition so that I could use my logic to override it, my intuition, to convince myself to stay in this relationship. And what actually happened as a result, because I both blocked and then threw my chakras out of alignment, is I then had developed this medical mystery of a digestive issue, where the doctors eventually diagnosed it as IBS, but in the same way that I was able to heal my solar plexus by turning my intuition back on and ending that karmic relationship, literally in direct correlation, my mysterious so-called IBS gastro issue resolved on its own magically. And then all the foods that I thought was irritating or exacerbating this alleged medical problem, magically I was able to tolerate those foods again. So that's how I knew that it wasn't actually a medical issue, but a spiritual issue. So it wasn't, the IBS wasn't medical. It was my solar plexus being blocked. So when you are able to sufficiently unblock your solar plexus so that you're in touch with it, and you have brought significant balance to your meridian, you'll then start receiving these intuitive dreams. And these intuitive dreams will tell you things that you already know in waking life deep down, but your logic has overridden it. So it's almost like you have inadvertently gaslit yourself in order to override or trump your intuition. So back to the example of my relationship with the karmic, I would have, as I slowly regained my intuition and saw this person for his true colors, my dreams reflected those realizations. And in these dreams, this karmic, who I was still with at the time, would start showing up in my dreams as his true self, which was, not a good person, not loving, not caring, kind of even dangerous and harmful and not to be trusted. So he would behave in ways in dreams that would reflect his attitude in real life. And my solar plexus / stomach just growled as confirmation. So when you do have intuitive dreams, you'll wake up and recall these dreams as something that, like my stomach just growled, you'll feel it. You'll literally feel it in your gut. That's why we have that saying, you get a gut feeling about something or someone, because that's where your intuition resides. So you'll wake up from these dreams and you'll have this inner gut feeling, knowing that whatever message you got or decoded from that dream is something that contains greater wisdom than what is in your head, your logic, your rationality, your justifications, your inadvertent gaslighting of yourself. The next kind of dream comes from a different chakra. So these are crown chakra dreams that give you inspiration or ideas. So if you are, let's say you're at a point in your life where you are making some career changes and you're trying to decide what to do next. Or in another example, let's say you are very well established in your career type pursuits, and you are simply working on inspirations within that career, then you will receive these types of crown chakra dreams. So that's why in pop culture, for example, we often hear musical artists like Michael Jackson talk about how, the way they wrote a certain song was it came to them in a dream. I think Paul McCartney was another example of a musical artist that said, this song came to me in a dream. I can't think of the specific songs off the top of my head. But this is what these people are talking about. And these types of dreams are a real thing. So crown chakra dreams are real. And your crown chakra is what connects you to source. So your crown chakra exists right above the top of your head. And it connects you to the Most High. It connects you to the universe. It connects you to God. And that's why in the example of these musical artists, they are able to say that these songs came to them. It didn't come from within them. It was downloaded to them. They received it in a dream and they shared it with the world. And it can almost sound prophetic, which a lot of songs are prophetic or contain prophetic messaging and it's in part because of the way the lyrics or the music, the melodies, how it came to this artist in order to be produced into something that we people consume. And it is still distinguishable from the first type of dream I talked about, prophetic dreams, because of the nature of it, one coming straight from God, the prophetic dreams, and the other coming from your crown chakra, where you are like a conduit. So an example of this type of dream, crown chakra, for me, is I have personally recently been going through a significant life reset, and one of the avenues that I've been going down is also resetting my professional life, so the way in which I manifest my financial freedom. And I have been completely starting from scratch in recent months and trying to do my best to tap into higher wisdom in order to figure out what exactly I should be doing, what my calling is, and And it's been a combination of using my intuition secondarily, but primarily I've had to heal my crown chakra. So one of the things I've done to try and heal my crown chakra and bring it into alignment with the rest of my meridian and chakras is I've done a lot more meditation, a lot more praying, working with crystals. I've even started to sleep with a certain type of stone above my head. And it came to me that the way my life has revolved around my dreams and my recent revelations, making sense of the dreams that I've had since childhood, it came to me in my dream space that dreams are a part of my higher calling. And so that's how I ended up creating this show, Wake Up Call, and figuring out that the gifts that I have been receiving and channeling are what I am meant to pursue in order to help people and to empower people and to be a conduit for source knowledge. So I eventually in waking life started thinking more and more about starting this podcast, getting back on the internet again to create content and using my voice, thinking about how I can use my gifts to help people heal, specifically help people heal their hearts, because dreams are often about matters of the heart. And that's how I ended up here. So when you have crown chakra dreams, you will receive inspiration and ideas that stand out to you, that you'll also feel as if it didn't totally come from you, in the sense that it's not like you sat down and, wrote an essay straight from your brain. It's like you created something in collaboration with source, and it became a work of art, and you channeled the inspiration. So that's what crown chakra dreams, that's how they make you feel, and that's how you're able to distinguish them from the other different types of dreams. The next type of dreams are messages. So people have dreams where they receive messages from an external source. That can include your spirit team, your ancestors, your higher self. Sometimes we receive messages from our ancestors when something important is going on in your life that makes your ancestors feel as if they need to intervene. So, for example, I went through a very painful part of my life. I've gone through many dark nights of the soul, but there was one in particular where I was being spiritually attacked by someone who is deeply jealous of me, and this person had gone so far to attack me that they had even tried to, at least temporarily, disconnect me from my ancestors. And I have a great grandmother in particular who has always been a part of my spirit team, and who I feel the closest to, always have. Even today, I feel closer to her than any living family member. And she's always watched over me. And in this dream, I was in the midst of receiving these spiritual attacks that I at the time did not know how to fend off, but I knew that I would be okay. And I later figured out that I actually have a very badass spirit team that just will defend me at all costs and protect me, and that I actually did not need to have any fear. And I don't have any fears today because I know that nothing bad can happen to me. It's literally impossible. And there was a dream where my great grandmother came to me, and I think it was the first of the sort. And in the midst of my pain, she showed up in my dream where she sat in a chair, and she was just a big orb of bright white light. She was warm, she was pure love, and just so powerful. And I knelt at her feet and wept as she comforted me. And I felt her hand on my back, like on my shoulder, kind of embracing me and giving me this loving reassurance that everything was going to be okay. So sometimes you will receive messages like this where your ancestors are trying to send you a message of importance. Sometimes you could also receive messages from your spirit team, and they may also be stepping in and intervening to tell you about something you should pay attention to, something that you should know about. My spirit team has delivered messages to me about important things I should be doing in my life to help others. So, for example, my spirit team has told me to forge ahead and not look back. So I had a recent dream where my spirit team showed up as the embodiment of a posse of bodyguards. Like, there were so many of them that they had to walk in rows behind me. And the dream was for them to show me how powerful my spirit team is, and how with their divine protection that I am always going to be okay, and that I need to forge ahead in life and not fear. Because what I did do in that dream, as these bodyguards, spirit guides followed me, was I kept walking ahead. And I hardly even stopped to look back, even though in that dream there was someone who was trying to spiritually attack me verbally. The sixth type of dream are dreams of alerts, warning, or caution. Now, sometimes we may have people in our lives who are not for our greatest good, who may have ill intent, and maybe you haven't recognized it yet in your waking life. Sometimes we will have dreams that are meant to show you what you should know about this person. So let's say you're in a relationship with somebody who's not good for you. You may then have a dream of this person behaving in an exaggerated way of the worst quality of them that exists in waking life, but you maybe perhaps overlook, or you disregard or dismiss it as not being significant enough. So your dream may have this person show up in an exaggerated way so that when you wake up, you zero in on that trait of that person that you should be paying attention to. You may also receive this type of dream, so alert, caution, warning dreams, where for those of us who are able to sleepwalk or sleep talk, so in my case, I have actually received channeled dreams where I then acted out the warning to one of my caregivers. So as a child, I was known to sleepwalk, but interestingly, I only sleepwalked and sleep talked around those that deserved or needed to receive the warning. So the caregivers that were good to me or that were neutral, they never saw me sleepwalk or sleep talk. And later in life, the only people I ever, later in life I stopped sleepwalking, but I continued to sleep talk. And interestingly, the only people who ever witnessed me sleep talk were those who, again, were worthy of receiving warnings about messing with me. So if you've ever had a caregiver or a partner, like anybody who would reasonably be around when you're asleep, if they've ever told you that you sleep talked or sleepwalked and they told you what you did or said, it's because you were channeling a warning for them to receive. They may be even a little bit spooked, and actually, if they are spooked, that tells you that it not only resonated with them, but that warning that you delivered to them was meant for them. So in my example, when I was a child, my grandmother and my aunt saw me sleepwalk, where I walked from upstairs of a 2-3 story house. I walked from the 3rd floor all the way down to the basement, walked right past them, was clearly asleep, and they were totally freaked out, to the point where, even though I was maybe 5 years old or under, my caregivers were too afraid to follow me into the basement to even make sure that I was okay. They just let me keep walking, and I didn't even trip down the stairs. Like, it was the dream in itself, and the way I acted it out was very intentional. And I think that kind of dream was me channeling a warning to these caregivers that I have abilities beyond what they can comprehend, and that I have a connection to a source that they do not have a connection to, and that I am not to be messed with. And these caregivers who I went on in life thinking they were loving and caring, and I really adored them and looked up to them, in recent years in waking life, they actually turned out to be not who I thought they were. That aunt in particular, she turned out to be somebody who showed her true colors and showed that she doesn't even care about me. Like, I haven't heard from that aunt in probably 8 years. And then my grandmother, there were things in my childhood that I saw her do in waking life that showed me that she had a very malevolent side. When she was a caregiver to me, she also babysat other children in the neighborhood and children of relatives and family friends. And she would be kind to me and my brother, but she would go out of her way to terrorize the other poor children. So there was one girl in particular who's a dear friend of mine, Karen, and she was 3 years younger than me at this so-called daycare. And my grandmother would terrorize poor Karen, innocent, pure soul. She would terrorize her by scaring Karen that there were ghosts that we needed to run away from. And Karen would be like in tears, as any 3 to 5 year old child would, right, when you're being terrorized in that way. And so I saw a side to my grandmother that I did not like, that I ended up telling my mother about, and nobody did anything about it. They continued to leave me in the care of my grandmother. And then later on in life, about 5 years ago, My grandmother ended up showing her true colors and tried to manipulate me in a deeply sensitive family situation within family conflict, and she showed that she did not truly care about me. So, all that is to say that sometimes we receive dreams that are simply meant to alert, warn, or caution you about someone. I'll delve into this on another day, but just another quick example of another channeled warning is when I was about 8 years old, I had several sleepwalk, sleep talk dreams where only my mother witnessed. Like somehow, despite us all being in the same bedroom, only she, my mother, would witness these dreams where I completely acted out the warning. And one of them that I remember she told me about is I stood up at the edge of my bed and I pointed somewhere and I said to her, "Do not go there. Stay away. Stay away from that person." So I was like warning her of danger. And my mother, who the next day told me about my sleep talking dream, was totally freaked out, which I put two and two together in recently and figured out that this was yet another warning dream that was meant for my mother that I was simply channeling. So the next type of dream, number 7, is dreams of the subconscious. So we have dreams where, and I do want to read you a quick dictionary definition for those of you who are not familiar. So what is the subconscious? All right. The subconscious is the totality of mental processes of which the individual is not aware. They are unreportable mental activities. So the subconscious is a part of your mind that has not come to surface yet, but it exists, and it exists so deeply within your mind that you can only tap into it via certain avenues, such as your dreams. Now, others who are more sophisticated in their spiritual practice or attunement, they may be able to meditate and access their subconscious. But your subconscious is really like the deeper, most hidden parts of your brain actively working to solve problems that are present in your life. So when you receive a subconscious dream, it's meant to work out things that you haven't quite worked out in waking life, but it's meant to help you bring to surface your subconscious knowledge and inner wisdom. So wisdom that comes from within you, not from external, not from God, not prophetic stuff, not from your crown chakra, from the deepest parts of your mind, and in a way your inner knowing. So when we receive dreams of the subconscious, it will be working out a current problem in your life. So let's say you are trying to solve a relationship issue in your waking life and you're trying to figure out someone's true intentions, or maybe you've just simply started to question whether someone in your life, whether their intentions are pure. In your dreams, you will start having dreams of the subconscious where they will show you aspects of this person that you already knew. Like you'll wake up in your dream and you won't be like, whoa, I didn't know that about this person. You'll be like, yep, that fits. Like that makes sense. I can see that. And it'll catch your attention in a way where it'll highlight these aspects of that person or relationship that showed up in this subconscious dream, like this dream of your subconscious talking directly to you. So that's an example of how you'll know, because how you'll know you're having a subconscious dream as opposed to a different type of dream is that the problem or issue at hand being shown to you in the dream will be relevant in your waking life in the present. And it'll show you things that you already knew, but you had not prioritized sufficiently or brought to the top of mind. The next type of dream are recurring dreams. Now, me personally, I don't have too many of these, but I think I know why. So, recurring dreams are meant to set you free. They are meant to show you something that is unresolved, and where, if you sufficiently decode and listen to these recurring dreams and get to the bottom of what exactly the message is within these recurring dreams, it's designed to set you free from that burden. So for some of you, if you are having a certain recurring dream, this is something that I've heard lots about. I used to have a roommate who would share with me that she would always have this recurring dream of being back in her childhood home. And she could never make sense of why. Like, why was she constantly being taken back to this specific childhood home? And no matter what took place in the dream, it was always back in this home. So your recurring dreams doesn't have to be literally a carbon copy of the last dream. It just has to be familiar to the point where you connect one dream to the other. So in the case of my roommate, she kept having a recurring dream in the sense that different things or similar things would take place within the same home. For others, it could be a recurring dream where the same thing happens over and over again. So it's just like you're just hitting replay in these dreams. Ultimately, your recurring dreams are meant for healing. That's what its architecture is designed for. It's meant to draw your attention to an aspect of your life, your relationships, your career, your finances, something that is a part of you or a part of your history that is unresolved. And by your dream space replaying this recurring dream to you, it's meant to show you what needs your attention in order to be healed and to therefore set you free. The ninth type of dream that you may have are of your childhood. So sometimes we have dreams where we are taken all the way back to when we are children, and it may even replay for you things that happened in your childhood. In other childhood dreams, you may be playing out your dream as yourself as a child. And the way I've understood these childhood dreams is it's a way of you working through your inner child to heal a childhood wound. So, for example, a recurring dream that I have had was of something that actually happened in real waking life. And the recurring dream was of a time when I was around 3 to 4 years old. I was in my first ever childhood home, and my grandmother had come to visit. And this is the same grandmother that I've talked about earlier, who received warnings through me when I sleepwalked as a child when she was my caregiver. And through those sleepwalking dreams, I delivered messages of caution and warning to her. So the recurring childhood dream was of a moment when my grandmother was visiting me at my childhood home, and my next door neighbor, who was a very sweet boy with whom I was friends as 3 to 4 year olds can be, He one day had picked a bouquet of dandelions, and he walked over and handed me those dandelions. This is all in real life, in real waking life. And it was really sweet and just a gesture from the heart. And when he tried to hand me those dandelions, I happened to be walking out of the house with my grandmother. And without a second thought, as I was reaching for his bouquet of dandelions, my grandmother smacked the dandelions out of his hand and just destroyed the flowers and probably that poor kid's heart. And I was horrified. I was not expecting her to do that. I was too young to fully understand what she had done to this poor kid's heart and probably stomped on it. And I was too young to also process everything in time to have a reaction. So I never got the chance to say anything to that friend. I mean, we were so young, maybe he got over it, or maybe he never did. Maybe that was something that has become a recurring childhood dream for him. So for me, this moment has replayed in some dreams of mine. And I think the reason why it does, the reason why this childhood dream has shown up, it's not a recurring dream in the sense that it's shown up repeatedly. It's just that it's popped up once or twice. And then even in my waking life, as a result, it's become a childhood memory of mine. And I think the main reason why is because I have some unresolved guilt there that I probably shouldn't have. I shouldn't feel guilty for the horrible action of my grandmother, but I felt bad for what she had done to that boy and his kind-hearted gesture, a very, very sweet gesture. So in terms of these childhood dreams and their broader significance, I do think they are meant to bring your future or present self. So let's say as an adult, you were having these childhood dreams. I do think they are meant to bring your grown-up version, your grown-up self, attention to some unresolved feelings and difficult memories from your childhood. And it's meant to, similar to the recurring dream that I told you about, it's meant to help you resolve something specifically from your childhood that you as a child never got the chance to work through. So in my case with, the neighbor and the dandelions, I never had the chance or created the chance to talk to any adults about what had happened. I never confronted my grandmother about it, as 4-year-olds do or don't. And I feel some regret over that moment, even though, anyone would tell such a child that it's not your fault. So, having a childhood dream like that has allowed me as the grown-up version of myself to give myself grace, that as difficult of a moment as that was, the lesson being that I don't need to take on the bad actions of a caregiver. The last type of dream are what I call milestone dreams. So sometimes in our dream space, we will receive dreams about significant life events that are imminent or that will occur in the future. And they're meant to almost act as markers or flags, not not like a red flag, not a flag with any kind of positive or negative connotation, but these milestone dreams are meant to show you a point in your life that is going to occur in the future that's going to be significant for some important reason. So, in the example of my best friend, she had a milestone dream about her future pregnancy. So, about 5 years in advance, she had that dream. And of course, having a baby that you're meant to have is a huge life milestone. And for her, for my best friend, sorry, there's just a huge storm going on outside, so my dog's a little bit freaked out. We're okay, buddy. It's okay. It's just a storm. So in the example of my friend, she actually lost her father before she gave birth to this child. But when she had this milestone dream, she hadn't lost her father yet. In fact, I don't think her father was even ill yet. But in that dream, her father was in the waiting room. And it's quite profound because her dream was showing her and giving her reassurance that when the day comes for her to birth this child that was destined for her, her father will be right there with her, even in spirit. And it's just a very beautiful message, so that when it did come time for her to actually have this baby, she had the knowing that she was loved and protected, and that even though her father wasn't physically there, which was something that was very, very hard for her, she's such a daddy's girl that she would have loved nothing more than for her father to have met this beloved grandchild. But her having this milestone dream was to show her that no matter what happens, her father will be there, that he's there and he's watching over them, which is just really beautiful. So we do have milestone dreams like this because it's meant to tell you to pay attention, and that when you do go through this milestone in real life, that it's not only going to be a significant event in your life, but that there are things you can feel reassured by as you go through these difficult points in your life. And that concludes the second episode of Wake Up Call. I want to thank all of you dream catchers for listening to my podcast. I do offer personal dream readings. All the information you need is in the bio below. You can reach me by email. And till next time, I will talk to you beautiful souls then.